baby.
I hear the murder.
I see dead people. I'll help you catch him, Barry. Action.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Mi nombre es Melissa Fowell y te doy la bienvenida una vez más a Pantalla Grande. Hoy tenemos un programa especial. Ya se va acercando fin de año y en esta época nos podemos a repasar todo lo que hicimos en el año, ya sea que se nos haya pasado rápido o no. Cinematográficamente hablando, en un año pueden pasar muchas cosas. Puede haber miles de estrenos, premiaciones y demás. Pero si hablamos de lo que toma la realización de una película, entonces un año no significa nada. Partiendo de lo que es la película que lidera la taquilla en Argentina, ya desde el 13 de diciembre pasado vendió más de 250.000 entradas, vamos a ir de la mano de Peter Jackson, tras bastidores de El Hobbit, para ver todo el trabajo y el tiempo que tomó la realización de esta película.
Hello, welcome to the first of our vlogs on the making of The Hobbit. It's amazing to be back here again. We've been shooting for a few days now, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to give you a little look at the lead up to filming and some of the pre-production that led up to the first day of our shoot. And I look forward to keeping you up to date as we go through the next 2 or 3 years. See you soon. Oh, you're in 3D. Looking good.
Vamos a comenzar visitando el set del Hobbit y todos los recuerdos que trajo esto desde Wellington, Nueva Zelanda, ya que se volvieron a utilizar o se copiaron con exactitud muchas de las escenografías del Señor de los Anillos, como Baggin, Riverdale o la estatua de la espada quebrada. También es muy lindo ver la bendición particular que se hace en Nueva Zelanda cada vez que va a comenzar la filmación de un nuevo film.
This is Bag End, exactly as it was in The Lord of the Rings, and it's actually built in our B stage here in Wellington, which is exactly the same stage as it was built 12 years ago. Now this is a familiar set. It's Elrond's chambers, and it's an exact copy of the one that we had in the Fellowship of the Ring. In fact, just over here on the balcony is where the Council of Elrond took place, where the Fellowship was formed and Frodo volunteered to take the ring to Mordor. But also in The Hobbit there's going to be a lot of new bits of Rivendell that we haven't seen before. Some really cool bits of Rivendell actually that will keep us a little surprise for the time being. Now there's an old friend upstairs. Let's just have a quick look. Here we are. I'm sure you'll recognise the statue where Narsil, the broken sword, sits. And of course, in the time of The Hobbit, the sword is going to be here. And it is strange walking around here because it was, 10 or 11 years ago, and I'm used to looking at a set like this on film, and now we're walking back into it again. It's almost like you've stepped inside a movie. It's a very weird experience. This is where we're going to be shooting at the very beginning of our shoot. It's the Goblin tunnels below the Misty Mountains. It's a very iconic scene in The Hobbit. This is like a little network of caves. Look, there's a whole other little set of passageways down here. It's very claustrophobic. But one of the things we've done in order to be able to shoot the shots is to make sure that all the different walls of the cave can be removed so that our big bulky cameras can actually shoot the angles that we need.
Morning.
Ngamate. Kuahaere kitepo. Haere. Haere. Haere Atura. My name's Richard, I'm from London, England. Hell no, let's just start shooting.
Además de ver cómo cobran vida este divertido grupo de los 13 enanos en maquillaje, lenguaje y entrenamiento, también nos podemos muy nostálgicos a ver el retorno de grandes personajes del Señor de los Anillos como Gollum, Gandalf, Galadriel y Elrond.
It doesn't, because the first week of shooting we did with Andy as Gollum.
And if it loses, like that. If it loses, please don't use it. If Baggins loses, we eat the gold. Was that precious?
The way that Pete did that scene, it felt like I was watching a play. It was sort of like you could just sit back and watch these amazing guys do their thing. Him and Martin together were fantastic. It was really cool.
Trying to get back into the head of Gollum. I don't know if I ever told this, but it felt like kind of doing an impersonation of a character that I played.
Can you name them?
Name the dwarves.
Ori, Dori, Nori, Biffa, Bubba,
Buffa, Ori, Nori.
I can never remember. See, that's the problem. You can't even remember who they are.
You have Philly and Kelly.
There's Thorin, and there's Lorin, and there's Oin, and Dwalin and Balin, and there's Biffa, Buffer and Bomber, and then there are the three Dori, Nori and Ori. I think that's it, isn't it? What a challenge. I mean, 13 heroes, or 14 with Bilbo. They all have to be differentiated in a way that isn't necessary in the book, but if you keep seeing them, you want to know who they are and specifically and what their attitude is and why they're on this journey.
We need to move now! Come on! Give us a kiss.
Gelek Dashwood Bar.
Gelek Dashwood Bar.
We've all learnt a bit of the dwarf language, Cosdor, so we all have a kind of selection of words to fall back on, curses and battle cries.
I mean, we speak Dwarvish to each other most of the time when we're on set.
Okay, here goes. And Peter can guess what it is, and then I'll tell people. Caused Belcour. Peter? It means mighty dwarf. We started with 3 months of intense training. We did stunt fighting, we did horse riding. We did the gym 4 times a week. We did dwarf movement, yes, intensely.
If I could say key moments in Block 1, arriving in Rivendell and meeting Elrond and dining at his table, it really feels like you're stepping into Middle-earth.
There are some who would not deem it wise. What do you mean? You're not the only Guardian to stand watch over Middle-earth. I remember it now, but later on.
I love working with Hugo and Kate back in Rivendell again. That was fantastic.
Hello. Welcome.
I still can't quite get over being on set with Ian as Gandalf and then, you know, Kate Blanchett with Galadriel and Hugo with Elrond, and you just feel like you step back into a movie again.
It's a bittersweet moment, but it's time to leave. Hasta la vista.
Who is that odd little fellow?
Si hay algo hermoso, tanto en El Señor de los Anillos como en El Hobbit, son los exteriores. Se filmaron en los hermosos paisajes de Nueva Zelanda, las fantasías de la Tierra Media, el bosque negro, las praderas de Anduin, la montaña solitaria y las montañas nubladas. Veamos un poco esto y toda la increíble logística que implica.
Since we're going to be doing location shooting during our next block of shooting, it's really time to have to nail everything down. We'll be not just scouting, which is essentially searching for locations, we're now returning to the locations that we liked, and we're going to start to talk about the logistics.
In essence, we need to create space for 2 rugby fields of equipment.
We'll be flying, I don't know, maybe 30 locations, locations probably.
We're shooting locations around the Mackenzie country, around wilder landscapes below Mount Cook.
And we will also be shooting around Dunedin Way, more beautiful stone, rock, wild country, and that's quite exciting because it's an area of Middle Earth we haven't visited before.
That big rock could be part of the house, couldn't it?
Yeah. We're still searching and trying to work out how we're going to shoot Lonely Mountain, Misty Mountain Pass.
Lonely Mountain should be by itself, but you can look over in that direction there. Dwarves and boats, eh? Everybody thinks they're a sailor.
So we're currently moving about 500 crew for main unit to Hamilton, and then about 200 second unit crew to various parts of the country.
We like to call it the biggest logistical move in cinematic history.
Just because of the size of the fleet, close to 140 vehicles.
As you can see, we're moving around a huge circus.
I think everyone is secretly scared but quietly excited.
These are our changes for main unit crew, so this is how big we actually are. We're probably over 500.
Everybody has to be in the right vehicle at the right time, they have to travel to the right place, they have to have rooms to be able to sleep in. I can't begin to imagine the logistics involved with shifting the crew, the cast, the equipment that we have on the Hobbit. It's pretty mind-blowing.
You have to take everything with you to produce the films.
We're having to provide our own electricity, areas to cook food, areas for people to sit down and eat. You've got to provide water, the bathrooms and the toilets that people need. You have to have weather cover, heat when it's cold, and you've got to provide cooling when it's hot.
We've got a stock truck coming in to take our 49 mixed-age sheep, 15 chickens, 9 goats, 5 3-year-old steers, 4 pheasants, 2 Muscovy ducks. We've also got Michael Jackson, the walking chicken, on the lead.
We're just going to take you through, get your contracts done. We've got lunch packed for you to take on the road, so just follow me.
So here we are at the Turoa ski field on the flanks of Mount Ruapehu. This is the second oldest national park in the world.
Very ancient vegetation, magnificent colours, magnificent textures, but very fragile. And hence we've gone to exceptional lengths to actually make sure the impact on the site is minimised. So it's about scaffolding, it's about elevated boardwalks to keep people off the vegetation.
We built the world's biggest ramp, as far as I'm concerned, to get down to the thing.
We'd take off and choose our line and choose the way that we were going to shoot it and how we were going to reveal the landscapes.
So we're using the space cam on all the aerial stuff on this show. This particular rig is set up for 3D.
There's a chopper behind me, isn't there?
We are a long way from most of the infrastructure that we know and love, so we've had to rely on satellite technology to do all of our connectivity.
I think my favourite day on set, unquestionably, was floating down the Flores River in barrels.
Finally going to put our dwarves in barrels.
Today we're swinging over the river. We've got some dwarves coming down in barrels.
Keep going, everybody. That's good.
Hooray!
Yeah! Keep it out,
Si siempre quise visitar Nueva Zelanda, todavía no tuve la oportunidad. El pueblito que te voy a mostrar a continuación, me dan ganas de irme a vivir directamente.
It's okay. Rough day at the office today, Mom.
So after 110 days in the studio, we finally make it out into the sunshine. But I'll tell you what, Hobbiton is looking fantastic. The art department and the greens department have been working on it for nearly 2 years. The grasses have grown, the flowers are out, the plastic ones have even bloomed. It's weird when you come back to a place that you literally thought you would never see again. This is a great spot.
To be standing there with Elijah dressed up as Frodo, it was the nearest thing I think I'm ever going to come to a time machine.
This is actually the first time I'm stepping foot down into Hobbiton.
We'd been searching pretty much the whole country for this rolling green countryside.
We were up here scouting around and found this place called Buckland Road, and sure enough, when we flew over it, we found the round tree, the hill, the lake. It was all meant to be.
This time around they built it for real. So before, all of these Hobbit holes were built using polystyrene. When the filming was finished, they tore it all down.
Even though it's been available for tours and, you know, for people to look at it, we didn't have any of the Hobbit holes here. Doing the Hobbit now, it gave us the ability to rebuild Hobbits out of permanent materials.
Materials that aren't going to deteriorate, and we can carry on showing people what's involved in making a movie behind the scenes.
It's all, I mean, that's actual rock, stone. It's pretty amazing.
Hobbiton is going to stay exactly as it is today, which is fantastic. There's real wood, there's real stone, real bricks, and it's going to be here hopefully for decades to come.
Yeah, no, it's a great gift to the people of Matamat, and as Minister of Tourism, well done.
Some prime real estate.
You're not really designing a film set, you're trying to put yourself in the mindset of a Hobbit and figuring out, well, where would you like your house to be?
There were 44 personalised Hobbit holes, and each Hobbit hole has the different little details depending on their location.
It's kind of amazing, the door's actually open.
Hello? Hello? No, nobody home at the moment. They must be at the market.
A diferencia del Señor de los Anillos, El Hobbit se filmó en 3D y en este novedoso formato de 48 cuadros por segundo que tanto dio que hablar. Vamos a ver el trabajo detrás de estas nuevas tecnologías.
Action. The essence of our camera system is a camera called the Red Epic.
Really, it's this thing that enables us to shoot 3D on the Hobbit.
But of course, to shoot 3D, you actually need two cameras.
The problem that we have in the cinema world is that the lenses that we use are so large that we cannot get an interocular similar to a human's, which is the separation between your eyes. For us to get the two cameras as close together as possible, they have to shoot into a mirror.
We have to use a mirror system, which is a rig that's designed by a company called Reality.
One's left eye, one's the right eye. One shoots through a mirror, the other one bounces off a mirror, and so the two images are perfectly overlaid. With using two eyes, we can move the cameras apart, and also, more importantly, is find a convergence point. For example, see around someone's face, just like you're looking at a friend.
The convergence point is the screen plane that's 3D forms two places. Positive space, which is inside the box, what you see behind the person who's standing on the screen, and negative space, which is what you feel comes out into the audience, an arm, a bullet, or whatever you want.
Are we having fun?
Yay! We're not shooting film, we shoot digitally. We shoot onto these cards, which slot in the side of the camera, and each one of these is 128 gig. On top of that, you're shooting at 5K resolution.
A very sharp, clear image.
Needs like a chart, but you know, like 5K's there, 4K's about there, and then your 1080 home TV is down here. So it gives you sort of an idea of the amount of information that we're actually capturing on these.
Let's do another one of those.
48 frames, yes.
Yep.
We're shooting the Hobbit at a higher frame rate at 48 frames per second, which is twice the normal 24 frames.
The human eye sees 60 frames a second, so 48 frames is more of a natural progression toward giving the viewer what they would actually see in the real world.
The people who have seen scenes of The Hobbit at 48 frames a second often say that it's like the back of the cinema has had a hole cut out of it where the screen is, and you're actually looking into the real world. Once you add stereo, and it gives you that extra ability to control depth, you can devise ways in which it can become part of the storytelling of the film. For instance, in Mirkwood, we really play on the fact that it's a forest that's kind of hallucinogenic almost. It draws you in, it makes you part of it, and you may never get out. What we want is just to stay where you are and then...
Stay back! Stay where you are!
Mirkwood is a big forest, and it's full of vines and sinister looking trees, I suppose you'd say. It has a lot of things hanging down, a lot of things coming from all sorts of angles, and it helps us with the 3D to be able to push into that and try and get the audience to feel that they're actually trying to move into the forest with the cameras and give it that dark and look over your shoulder feeling.
They're coming back!
3D 48 frames is pretty unforgiving, and we have to change our whole way to go about coloring these things, because what we found out in early tests that if there wasn't enough red in these pieces, they would punch up yellow and react differently than normal skin with blood running through it.
With the 3D HD stuff, it is amazing how when people's hair moves around on the wigs, it has to actually be the real thing. It has to be real hair.
It's challenging to look for fabrics that work. I know full well that a fabric that we bought ages ago for a dressing gown for Bilbo would probably make people feel sick if they saw it on camera. It's got spots on it with a little spot inside it, and it would just be like someone throwing stones at your face, I think. So I've avoided that fabric like the plague.
This film is really breaking new grounds in many ways as far as the technology of the filming goes. But John and I are still working in our time-honoured methods of pencil and charcoal, composing pictures in 2D. And we thought we'd try and come up with some way of actually incorporating a 3D aspect into the way that we were producing the concept art. That might communicate more clearly to Peter and to the other technicians. So what we're doing is 2 drawings. One is in red, one is in blue, and the 3D glasses have a red lens and a blue lens, one for each eye.
Don't go too heavy on that.
This is probably the first serious cinema production where the actual concept art has been done in 3D. Rather than sharing just the same office, we're actually sharing basically the same vision.
Yeah.
My God, coming at you, look at that. Whoa!
If you happen to have a pair of glasses like these at home, you should be able to see the artwork in 3D.
Visitemos también el estudio, los departamentos de maquillaje, de tecnología, de arte, de vestuario, en fin, los lugares donde la magia ocurre.
Used to be an old paint factory. We got hold of it just before we started Lord of the Rings. We built one sound studio for Lord of the Rings. We built another one on King Kong, and we built a couple more here for The Hobbit.
Hello everybody, my name's Luke Evans and I play Bud, and I'm going to take you on a little trip around Trailer Park. We have 21 trailers where we've been living for the last 7.5 years.
Where's the green frog?
Good morning and welcome to Stone Street. I'm just off to my prosthetics. Morning all. Okay, so this is my spot currently with the lovely Rachel. And now we're about to start the process. Come and see me again in a couple of hours when I'll look radically different.
2 hours later, here we are.
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the Hobbit Stunt Department. I just died. Hey, so this is the intense thing we'd like to bring on set every day. Hopefully you enjoy it. Okay, come on guys, let's go! We're on set, come on, let's go!
Hi, welcome to the hair and makeup department. Here we are on day 5,953 of shooting, and we're now actually trying to repair the wigs that have been doing the barrel sequence for the past 3 days.
Here we are in the costume workshop, and we've got racks lined up here for all our dwarves because we have to do constant repeats for their stunt doubles, their photo doubles. Then we've got our flesh factory where 3 people have been making the dwarf fat suit components.
We've had some pretty big set pieces in here recently, Mirkwood Forest and some of the Trollshore Forest scenes. Here we have F and G. These are our 2 newest stages, being built specifically for the Hobbit. They've pretty much got the latest technology inside them and rather large extraction units for all those fires and flames and smoke.
At the very end of the studios is the art department.
In this way to the model makers. So we have many models we have to make. We've done approximately 115 sets to date, and each one of those sets we try to make a model to show Peter before we begin construction.
That kind of thing's nice.
I'm Corin, I'm the booth swinger, and this is Tony, the sound recordist. These are some of the newer stages. Had soundproofing, which makes it fantastic for us, being as there's an airport just over the hill that way.
This is the first production that's been in here, and one of the biggest things is there's headroom up here now so the guys can walk all the way down these walkways without bumping their head on stuff.
I'm a specialist roof dweller. It's handy if you don't have a fear of heights.
Hi, my name's Dion. I'm head of technology on the Hobbit. Just going to show you through my office and my space, known as the Tin Shed. Come on in. We look after the technology, rigs, cameras. This rig here is a surface rig for shooting on water. Going in the next couple of days to shoot a very exciting sequence with the dwarfs. She's all wireless and all made here in Wellington over the last couple of weeks.
Come have a look out here, because this is pretty basic technology. This is where we've built a humongous green screen. This is called the backlot. Now the backlot is where we shoot all sorts of the outdoor scenes. They can be battle scenes, they can be wet sets, and obviously being a green screen, the backgrounds can be changed later on in post-production.
Sword casts, weapons, end up and clean up, and this young chap, Alec, is madly trying to get the axes finished. Bowstrings, weapons lined up for the day's painting. So Kiri's just putting the aging pass on quite a decent croquet hammer. Another painting area, this is models. The milling department, injection moulding out of this gun, spraying, trimming, sanding, engineering, bending, cutting, dyeing, sculpting, mould making, flashing, baking, foam fillings. And then for every one of the lead actors that has a full prosthetic, and of course with Biffa his axe, we also make scale doubles of these.
Entonces, si todavía no viste el Hobbit, ahora cuando la veas, la vas a poder disfrutar más sabiendo todo el tiempo y el trabajo que implica un monstruo de película como esta.
And action.
In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit.
Far to the east, over ranges and rivers, lies a single solitary peak. The dwarves are determined to reclaim their homeland.
I like visitors as much as the next hobbit. But I do like to know them before they come visiting.
Mr. Baggins?
At your service. I'm surrounded by dwarves. What are they doing here?
Oh, they're quite a merry gathering.
So, this is the hobbit.
You asked me to find the 14th member of this company, and I have chosen Mr. Baggins.
Me? No.
Hobbits can pass unseen by most if they choose, which gives us a distinct advantage.
We will seize this chance to
Take back Erebor!
Here, Mr. Bilbo! Where are you off to?
I'm going on an adventure!
Mithrandir, why the halfling?
Why Bilbo Baggins? Perhaps it is because I'm afraid. And it gives me courage.
So this is your purpose, to enter the mountain?
What of it?
There are some who would not deem it wise.
A dark power has found a way back into the world. Why don't we have a game of riddles?
And if it loses, what then? Well, if it loses presents, then we eat it. If Baggins loses, we eat it whole.
Fair enough.
I would take each and every one of these dwarves over the mightiest army. Loyalty, honor, a willing heart. I can ask no more than that.
Home is now behind you. The world is ahead.
Well, that could have been worse.
Bueno, ese fue nuestro programa por hoy. Espero que la hayas pasado bien y que nos reencontremos la semana que viene. Acordate que a Pantalla Grande lo podés seguir en Facebook, donde vas a encontrar todos los estrenos de cada semana, noticias, novedades y muchas curiosidades más. No me queda otra que decirte hasta el año que viene. Muchas gracias.